What's going on, everyone? Nick and Steph Martinez here, and we're doing a little something different here on the Nick and Steph show. We are going to talk realignment, expansion in the world of sports, and we want your ideas as well. So please comment below. Tell us where you would want expansion teams to be and in what sport. Also, too, teams already playing in a specific location. If you think they should move or a different part of a state or a city, like I do with certain teams, and I'll definitely bring that up today. Let us know. Stefan, what's going on, man?
I'm good, brother. What's going on? This show is going to be interesting. It's not like anything we've ever done before. This is very different. I think you guys will enjoy this. You guys,
What's up, Alan?
you guys will enjoy this. I think it's something that we've been talking about together with each other for a while now. So I'm excited to get it going and see what you guys think.
Yep, definitely exciting. Where would you like to start? We could start realignment, or we could start expansion.
Let's do the realignment first, and then we'll go with the expansions, and we'll see where it leads us. His boys lost, so he starts with the
Sorry, Zach. That was a tough one.
Yeah. First of all, let's start in the NFL. Let's do the expansion in the NFL, and then we'll go from there. Guys, if you have suggestions, please comment. Leave them all. We'd love to see your feedback. I think this is going to be very interesting. I personally like to see two cities have football teams.
Okay.
First, I would like Oakland to have a football team back in Oakland. It is a joke that there's no football team in Oakland. And you could say, the stadium's no good and the A's are moving out. I get you. That's a fair point. The stadium is a dumpster. We both agree on that. But just the passion that the Oakland Raiders fans showed all those years, you can't just take that away from them. That was the hard part for me, watching that team just be like stripped away and say, it doesn't matter. That sucked for me. That was really hard.
And you can have a natural rivalry with San Francisco. If you do away with AFC and NFC, and you have your own division, or I set up basically East and West, no divisions, just the best 7 teams record-wise in each East and West make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you do it without divisions, I think it becomes easier. I think it's easier for fans to follow because then you got to remember who's in the divisions. And then, just make it to like 16 teams. Each of the 16 teams make the playoffs, and you go from there. Because I think it'll be more compelling because you'll get matchups that people actually want to see.
And you have natural rivalries, and you'll even build some, like both New York teams then would play against each other more. The 2 LA teams will play against each other more. Vegas and LA, well, they already are in the Chargers division, but still, like with the Rams, you can get the Vegas-LA rivalry.
And here's the thing that I was thinking too, and I brought it up to you this morning. I would move Vegas out of the AFC West, put them in the NFC West, and move the Colts into the AFC West because it's technically Midwest. You're talking about Indiana. If you want to get technical, that's technically Midwest.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So I would definitely do that. Plus, the Raiders kind of fit more with San Francisco. They fit more in that kind of that realm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where the Chargers, I would put them.
And that would be easier.
Afternoon. Hey.
Like for traveling fans, because we know the Raiders have a huge fan base. It'll be easier to travel, to San Francisco or down LA.
Yeah, right down to 405. Right. Right. And the thing about it is you create more rivalries like that. I know you were talking with Zach about, possible rivalries and what it would look like. You would create more rivalries and more fan interest that way.
Yeah, even like the way I would have it set up, like you could have Arizona and Vegas.
Hmm.
Just I was thinking just along the lines of in terms of proximity. So to
Right.
keep those teams as close together as possible and create rivalries and even build them up more. Because when you're in
Hmm.
separate conferences, especially in football, there's a lot of those situations where the teams don't really play each other all that often. But now, if you just do it East and West, they'll play each other a
Yeah,
lot
and it eliminates confusion, to be honest with you. Sometimes you look at the NFL like you're like, wait, Dallas is in the NFC East? How is that even possible? Logistically, like
more. Right.
geographically, it makes no sense. Like Dallas should be in the NFC South, and Pittsburgh should be in the NFC East.
Yep.
If you're being like technical, imagine Pittsburgh, the Eagles, the Giants, the Jets.
That'd be
That would
crazy.
be Yeah, and you create more rivalry like that.
You do when they're playing against each other more often. So
Right.
I think it's just a good idea, and it's something that we've been talking about for years. And all the sports leagues in North America should really sit down, take a look at it, and map it out.
Yeah, and plus it'll probably do better for ratings, which these leagues are all about the ratings and all about the money. Can you imagine if you get them to expand on just making it more rivalry centric, making it feel like these teams don't, and you create more bad blood because if you see a team every year, twice a year, close proximity, the fans feel like they got a rivalry, they got something that they can lean their hats on, so to speak, and it just feels more organic,
Yeah,
you
like have
know?
the Texans and Cowboys play more, or even the Cowboys
Right.
Saints, because they're pretty close if you look
Look at the
geographically.
map. Right. Yeah. And look, I got to be honest with you. I think all the Florida teams should be in the same division. Like Tampa, Miami should be in the same division.
Yeah, and
I think
Jacksonville.
right. And you were talking about eliminating the Jaguars, and I was just telling you that the Khan family, who also owns All Elite Wrestling and a Premier League team, they've got money. So it's going to be hard to tell the Khan family we're eliminating your franchise. Could I see them moving out of Jacksonville and doing something different? That I can possibly see, depending on where you put them.
Yeah, we were discussing off air like South Carolina, so you could keep them still in the South.
Like I could see the Khans moving the Jaguars to Las Vegas. That makes sense.
To have two teams in.
Not Vegas. I mean Oakland. I mean
Okay.
Oakland. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. But I could see the Khan family going. You know what? There's a need in Oakland. This would really boost the Oakland economy again because they might lose the Oakland A's too. Just like on a sidebar, they
Yeah, they lost the Warriors and the Raiders.
and the A's look like they're next. So that's what sucks is that you're losing consumers and people that were fans of these teams for so long. You're telling them, "Oh, your fandom doesn't matter," which is really unfortunate.
Or even what about I just thought of this, like the Panthers already in Charlotte, you can put them in Raleigh, and then you can have an interstate rivalry within North Carolina.
Interesting. There you go. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's a very good point.
But yeah, and
That's a
even the
very good
East,
point.
back to your Philly Pittsburgh point, like the way I have it here, they would play each other more. Philly, Pittsburgh, Jets, Giants, all the Florida teams, of course. So you'd have a lot of rivalry.
And you get more divisional matchups.
Yeah.
And
Now
so
going
like
back to Dallas, yeah, you won't have Giants, Cowboys much anymore, Cowboys, Eagles, which all right, that does stink. But at the same time, I mean,
you create new rivalries, you create new blood. Because sometimes
yeah,
you look at these leagues and it's like, yo, this is stale. Can we get something different? Can you give me something new? Like
right.
that's what this is all about. This is all about new and creating a new sort of feel
And
as opposed to doing it.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I don't think either I would do East versus West. I'd only have the West play each other and the East play each other. I mean, maybe you'll throw one or two inter conference games in there, but I really like the idea of just playing your own conference because then you can only create that animosity, the rivalry even more, and the intrigue. Because, I mean, like Dallas playing Green Bay a lot, or Dallas playing San Francisco, those are two old school rivalries, but they don't play each other a whole lot. But if they're both in the West,
right.
that'll only get even more ramped up.
The rivalry more. Yeah, right. You're right. And here's the beautiful thing about that. Like the NFL would eat up a Sunday night football game with Dallas and Tampa in the same division. Sunday night football will be like, okay, can I get at least two more of these, possibly three, if they meet in the playoffs?
So you're still looking to keep divisions. You don't want to go away from it.
I mean, we could go away from it, but I think that
No,
you got to.
I like your ideas too. I just like the idea of just East West. As you put it, it's less complicated for people.
Yes, I agree with that. I
And
agree.
it's more straightforward to just have the best because now it's 7 teams in each conference, so the best 7 in each. When I would do 1 verse 7, 2 verse
and it makes more sense that way.
It does.
It'll just be easier to follow along as opposed to just saying, "Oh, we're gonna put this in a specific region, or we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do that." It makes it harder to follow along a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which is why if you simplify it and you make it so that you can have more of teams that actually live geographically that play in proximity to each other, you get, first of all, the rivalries will be organic. Like, I don't have to look at the Cowboys and muster up the hate for a team in Texas. Like, I want to hate somebody that's in Pittsburgh. Like, if I'm a Jet fan, I want to hate the Eagles. I want to have discourse between the local teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why this idea is interesting from on so many levels, because it's almost like this. You're taking someone back to old school football and old school sports when rivalries actually mattered and there were teams closer to each other. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and I would love to put a football team in Milwaukee. You imagine an NFL team in Milwaukee to battle with the Pack, like with a, you know what I'm saying? Like Milwaukee, like the city of Milwaukee. Not Green Bay, but you got the Brewers, you got a football team, put a hockey team in Milwaukee. Can you imagine?
Absolutely. Outdoor game at
we're gonna get there though. We're gonna get there. I jumped the gun a little bit, but I'm saying like that would work. That really would draw people in. Like it would get an NFL team in Portland. Can you imagine the rivalry with the Seahawks if you put an NFL team in Portland? Wow.
And even just looking at my list, Baltimore and Washington would have more of a rivalry.
Woo!
So that would only grow that because they are so close. I mean,
yeah, right.
And also, too, the other thing, and I've spoken to you about it and no offense to people in New Jersey, so forgive me, but I really would love to move the Jets and Giants back to New York. If it was possible, I'd love to move them back.
It's just New York is so cluttered. There's no room to do anything. Like, even if you wanted to, you imagine the amount of work it would take to move both franchises to New York.
Yeah, but how cool would it be, though, to have the Giants and Jets still in the city? Like if the Jets were able to build right next to City,
Like if the Brooklyn Nets move out of Barclays Center, take Barclays Center, destroy Barclays Center, get it out of here. I'm done. Build a stadium. Build the stadium. Hold on, build a stadium. By the way, it's one game, so easy there, buddy. Build a stadium and allow a New York football team to play in Brooklyn. Can you imagine the Jets playing in Brooklyn?
I mean, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, we know you would. He'd be on cloud 1,000, not even cloud 9. They'll have to build a whole new cloud just for him. No, and that'll be intriguing.
It
And
would.
you know, I know we regurgitate this a lot, but if Dolan would have let that stadium be built on the upper west side, I'm like, yo, can you imagine that?
So much easier to get to games and
wow.
I mean, there won't be much for tailgating, but it's all good. Yo, football stadium in Manhattan. Wow.
And you imagine the tourist attraction that would be?
I know.
Yo, tourists would flock to tourists would dead flock to these places and go, I'm going to the Jet game and I'm overlooking this,
like the buildings like right on top. Like how crazy would that be?
If the Raptors lose, then we can have a conversation, but they didn't lose yet, so I'm not worried about it.
But can you imagine when they play like the bigger popular teams or
oh my god. Can you imagine the Cowboys Jets and you're staring at the skyline in Manhattan? What?
That would have been amazing.
That would be bonkers, bro. That would be bonkers. See, football, all these leagues miss out because they're greedy. But in all actuality, if you do all these things, you actually make more money. Well, it's expensive putting a building in the city.
Dolan's excuse, it would take away money from the Garden. Like,
really?
Come on.
Not for nothing. I'm a Knicks fan, but who wants to watch that moribund franchise freaking 40 times a year?
Only last a few months. So, all right, yeah, here and there, would you maybe
stadium near Chelsea Pier? Wow, bro. Yeah. Yo, remember we were talking about? They were talking about putting Yankee Stadium, the new Yankee Stadium. They were talking about putting it right on the Pier 17 where the ESPN studios are now. Remember me and you, Rick? We were talking about this. I forgot where we were going, but we were talking about this. And Rick was like, they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to like do all the extra construction. Can you imagine a stadium on a riverfront, bro?
And we're also talking about that for NYCFC, which would be sick. And I think for
that would be bananas.
Like New York City Football Club to be in like the middle of Manhattan, I think.
Oh my god!
That would have been a cool idea, like right on the water. Oh my god, insane!
I'm all in on that. I'm in on that.
But I know they're looking to build it not too far from Yankee Stadium. So we'll see if that gets approved down the line.
Thing about that is they're having issues with the permit now.
That's going to be tough, but they deserve their own stadium, especially if Messi's going to come.
Oh my god! You imagine
that may happen. I would definitely love to go to a game if he comes.
And I'm not even a soccer fan, but I'll go.
MetLife, it's terrible, Emilio. It's a horrible stadium to go to, like, for a game. There's no atmosphere.
Not for nothing. And I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm going to say this about Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium is boring. It's boring. I wonder when Cohen buys the team, because I'm going to speak that into existence for you, Met fans. When Steve Cohen buys the team, I wonder if he remodels the ballpark at all.
And
like if he makes it more like, not like Shea, but you get more retired numbers. You get more of like a Met wall. Oh my god, I'm not even a Met fan, but Chase Stadium, there was something special about that place.
Oh,
Something special about
it rocked. Not that City
Oh,
doesn't, but there's something beautiful to me about the old stadium
man,
and arenas. I'm
City
sorry.
City got mental when we were there. They
Yep.
were mental cases when we were
But
there.
going back to the football point, it's crazy though how many stadiums are on the outskirts of town. And granted, because they are bigger, they want people to tailgate. But imagine if the Cowboys actually played in Dallas or like just like outside of downtown Dallas or the Rams and Children.
Imagine the stadium where you can put them right next to the Mavericks and the Rangers, where you got all three stadiums in
Yeah.
like one.
Right, and the
Woo!
Texas Rangers too moved in Dallas.
Right.
Because they're in like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but Jerry wants the 80,000 seats though. Jerry's a money hungry, you know what? So that's why that makes sense, because he wants
And
a
the Chargers
gazillion.
and Rams, are in Inglewood and not in downtown LA, although downtown LA does have the Bank of California Stadium where LAFC plays and the Coliseum for USC. So, but imagine the stadium got built to around that'd be insane. If there was
Oh
room.
my God.
And then you got Dodger Stadium and Staples right up the freeway. That's
Come on, stop, man. Stop. You're making my eyes water. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Jets playing in New York, Manhattan or Brooklyn would be sick. That'd be amazing.
Oh, this guy, you be in the corner weeping with a bunch of cleaner.
To keep it like when they came into the league, like keep the Jets in Queens, keep the Giants in the Bronx.
See, you know what it is, bro? You know what it is? And I know I mentioned the money a lot, but that's how these owners think. It's like, yo, do we really want to pay property taxes? Because the property taxes to play in the city would be astronomically crazy.
Right.
Where Jersey's not that bad.
It's not.
Here's the thing. The travel to Jersey, nah. Because you have even told me stories that when you travel to MetLife, it's like, oh my God, I want to rip out my hair.
Oh, public, it's horrendous. Detroit has that. Yeah, Detroit's perfect. Again,
Detroit, Cleveland.
But yeah, they have that. Comerica and Little Caesars Arena is all in downtown now.
Yeah. Yo, can you imagine if they do it in New York where they put the Jets and Giants. Wait, listen, I know you want separate buildings, but let's just say for argument's sake.
But tell me your idea.
Let's say you had to share it, right? Just so that you can get it built. If that was the one thing that was stopping you from getting it built, the Jets and Giants both play in New York. You call it something else other than MetLife Stadium, or like something like great. And because here's the thing, and here's the crazy part. Here's the idea that I want to float past you. When Dolan sells the Knicks, not I'm saying if, but when, because I think at some point he's going to sell. He's already had, figures already put out there that I would sell the Knicks if. I would sell the Knicks. I owe it to my shareholders not to listen, right? If Dolan's the only one that's blocking this from happening, do you think the Jets or the Giants revisit the New York idea and go, well, Dolan's out of the picture now. Let's see if we can work this out.
He couldn't.
Where
I know their contract with MetLife is.
Ooh. I like the way you think there, Ray. I mean, I don't know where you're putting it. I
feel too, again, I always think as a fan, but
guys, share the video. Let people know we're live. Yeah. We want more interaction. This is a very fascinating subject.
Please, please comment. Keep commenting.
Yes, please, yes.
But I mean, you like Jets and Mets aspect, the Yankee Giant fan aspect, like.
Oh my God! You and me both.
Being a Bronx kid. Of course.
Yo, imagine this guy waking up, rolling to see the Giants instead of having to go into Jersey. This guy's a mental case Giant fan. Can you imagine what he'll do?
And if the Mets
Oh my
are in
God.
Flushing again, my drive would be a lot less. And even for people on public transportation, it'd be better.
Right. Right.
7-line train right there.
Oh my God. Yo, imagine. You know how many Jet games I would go to you, or I would go with you to? And I'm not even a Jet fan, but I just want to see you go nuts for 3 hours. That'll be worth the price of admission. Get me a couple hot dogs and a beer. I'm good. I'm good. But that's the stuff that'll get the fans back engaged. Is if we put things in proximity where, first of all, it's easier to get to. You're not, well, I want the Jets to, I mean, that's fair. No. But that's fair, though, because a lot of the Giant fans are in Jersey.
Yes, and they already are.
So
I feel are
I'm
established.
with that.
Know what I thought
Yes.
too? Listen, like let's say you can't do it in the city, the 5 boroughs. Put them on Long Island. Bring the Jets back. Build
I'm with that.
a training facility in Nassau like you used to, because the Jets way back used to train at Hofstra.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
With this new Honda Arena being built, and this is very hypothetical,
Mm-hmm.
you take the old place, right? I know you love it. I know it has sentimental value, so this will hold you just a little bit.
I know where you're going, but keep going.
Knock it down. They knock it down. The NFL says, yo, we'll foot the bill. Us and Governor Cuomo will foot the bill. You put the Jets where the Islanders used to be. You gut that whole area. You put shopping malls around it, like what Charles wanted to do, but you do it for the Jets.
And a new hotel, yeah.
Make like a Jets Plaza that the road team could stay in the hotel that's right there.
That'd be sick.
Yo, imagine that.
As much as
imagine that.
I would accept it. And the reason is, like, I would love to see the Jets and Giants in the 5 boroughs, but you know what? The fan bases, like so many Giant fans, as you pointed out, are in Jersey.
And Jersey, right.
Fans are on Long Island. So that would still make sense.
But here's the thing. But if we're already having issues with, Nassau saying we don't want to do this or we don't want to build that, how crazy they would fight the NFL, I think. But the NFL has the money and the cachet to say, okay,
yeah.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The amount of room. And listen, you think the NFL gives a crap about property taxes? We'll pay off your property taxes. That ain't nothing for us. What do you mean? Where did my eye go? I think it's super fascinating when you start talking about different ways to make it more interactive for the fans. Where, you know what? Because I feel like that's half the battle. If I can go to a stadium and I don't have to worry about traveling and I don't have to worry about driving and I don't have to worry about, first of all, driving to MetLife is not that bad, but parking and getting out of the building, I heard, is a disaster.
Yeah, because and especially if you're going to tailgate, like you're gonna leave your house at like 9, get there by 10,
right.
Eat, throw the football around for a few hours, and then go in. But yeah, leaving is atrocious. I mean, it takes hours, unless if you just hang out after the game and whatever and wait. But it's insane. Parking is a lot. You're right. Especially,
and that's how. Yeah, you cut it down like that. You cut it down like that. I really do believe that.
And I think the Giant fans probably don't care, but the Jet fans, we want our own stadium. But I'm sure the Giants would too. And then look, they can rename a Giant stadium if they want. They don't have to keep MetLife.
But here's the thing. I think the Giants, the Johnsons and the Maras said, let's do this together because it'll be a cheaper operation, which is what it boils down to. Because to foot their own bill of your building, I don't think the Johnsons would want to do that.
No.
That's me personally. I would love to see it because I think it'll bring more intrigue. Yo, can you imagine a Super Bowl? Can you imagine a Super Bowl where can you imagine a Super Bowl where you're in the middle of Manhattan? That would be crazy. And the skyline would be astronomical if they did that.
A Super
We
Bowl?
have
Wow.
in Manhattan, where you have two teams playing in the middle of downtown Manhattan for the championship. Not Jersey, no, downtown Manhattan.
That's a crazy
That'd be
idea.
really cool.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be cool though. And the city, you imagine, the city's all about money. You imagine the money they can make off of that?
And then imagine you have an all New York Super Bowl.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That, oh. And these are just some of the possibilities that you could think of that would be like, okay, this could work. This could work. And so I'm not deleting your messages. I see you. I got them all right here. I'm not deleting your message. Emilio, gridlock. Yeah, that's the only negative thing. Is like the traffic would be, oh my God, it'd be so bad. It'll be so bad.
But if you did have the Jets on Long Island, Jersey, and the Giants still in Jersey, it would be, well, there'd always be traffic. Who are we kidding? Especially after the game, but that's all right. And you know what? Manhattan is so much gridlock already. I mean, who cares? Like,
no, I'm good, man. No, you're right. And that's the thing too, is the traffic. First of all, New York traffic is already crazy. So this would add another layer, which I'm not sure that they would want to do that, but I think it'd be great for the fan bases, great for people like Big Dog, who wants his own stadium, who doesn't have to share, who doesn't feel like, oh, we have to share. First of all, the stadium is dull, as we pointed out, but
it is. It's plain. Like, I get why they built it neutral like that, but it's.
I think it's just I feel like, yeah, and that's what ruins it. When you see all these stadiums around the NFL, look at what they did in Vegas for the Raiders. Look at what they did in Minnesota for the Vikings. All these different
and it's their
stadiums.
Own. Like, even don't get me wrong, the new stadium in Englewood, California for the Rams and Chargers is sick. It's beautiful. It does look a little like the Vegas stadium, but slightly different. But them too, like, wouldn't you want the Chargers and Rams to have separate stadiums? Like, I just feel there's no personality. Like, when you walk into Citi Field, you know it's the Mets' home. When you walk into Yankee Stadium, it's the Yankees' home. The Coliseum, it's the
right.
You feel it's their home.
Right.
Where MetLife, you walk in and it's like blah.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like you too. It doesn't feel like there is something that they can call home. Like, it just feels like, okay, we're coming to a neutral site. It's almost like playing at a neutral building. And they dress it up with the green and the blue, and they try to make it like as homey as they can, but it doesn't do justice. It doesn't do it justice. So,
I know James wants his own stadium for the Jets too.
I would agree with him. I think it's, first of all, I think it's good when fans have their own identity. Like, this is our building. We don't have to share it. It's not something that corporate sponsors are going to control. We can do whatever we want, but you got to have an owner that's willing to do that, though. And I don't know if the Johnsons or the Marins are willing to say, let's fork over this money. And they both make a gajillion dollars. They're both multi-millionaires. They got money. It's not like they're broke.
The other thing I always thought of too, staying on the East Coast, is two other locations. Moving the Washington football team to D.C. Because you still have RFK Stadium there in D.C., but how about knock that down and build a new building for them?
Interesting. Alan, what do you think about that, Alan?
Yeah, Alan, let us know. And, of course, that stadium in Foxborough was brand new, and they have so much room for tailgaters, et cetera, et cetera. But how about like bringing the Patriots closer to Boston instead of 45 minutes away from downtown Boston?
Well, I don't think they would do that necessarily because Foxborough is still a brand new building, and plus, I think it's all about taxes and people and owners going, okay, we'll build this for 80,000, 90,000 seats. Can we get 80,000 seats inside Boston?
But
Like you see
imagine
how
a stadium in downtown Boston.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you lose money though, because they're probably looking at it as if we do that, we lose money. Now that would be dope from a like
And rename them the Boston Patriots.
Imagine that. That would be so
It's still
crazy.
on Boston, Zach. What do you think?
Now Robert Kraft would never do it though. Robert Kraft would probably be like, "Damn that, I ain't doing that."
And even with the soccer team there that shares Gillette, like build them their own stadium, whether next to Gillette or in downtown Boston, because them playing in Gillette Stadium looks terrible, like on TV.
They're the Revolution, are they not?
They are owned by Robert Kraft. Same colors, same everything, just like the Patriots.
That's why they're there.
Yeah, same thing with Atlanta United. They play in the Mercedes-Benz Dome there in Atlanta because they're owned by Arthur Blank. But
that makes sense.
And it does work though because they get like 70,000 every home game, which
wow,
it's a big soccer culture down there. They're very popular.
I didn't know that.
And so they have won a championship recently, unlike any other Atlanta sports team, but
28-3.
Yeah, don't remind me of that. But yeah, I just want to see some changes in football, with locations and stuff like that.
No, it would make it better to the fans, and you would create more of, okay, these games actually have a little bit more juice to them. They have a little bit more meaning because we're playing our in-state rival. When you look at college football, that's what's beautiful about college football. You got Michigan versus Michigan State. You got Carolina versus Duke. You got friggin' Texas versus Oklahoma. They're right there.
It's the same with European soccer. You get all the big derbies, and the teams are so close. I mean, there's multiple teams in London alone, so it's crazy.
See, but soccer got it figured out, and that's why they make so much money.
They do. And their stadiums are built in, like, maybe not in downtowns, but they're built in neighborhoods.
Very close. Right. Yeah.
Very easy access. Like every stadium, you could take the tube or, the subway there, right there. And you don't have to walk far. It's very convenient. Right.
Now, moving on from football, because we could do this all day with football, but we're going to give the other sports some love too.
Yes.
We'll save the NHL for the next one, but I want to get your perspective on this.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this in baseball as well.
Yep.
Like, I would love to move. Sorry, Cecilia. Cecilia Match, gigantic Rays fan. She's probably going to get upset with me for saying this. I'm sorry, Cecilia. I didn't mean to upset you, but your boy's got to move out of Tampa. This is
gotta go.
That stadium is atrocious. First of all, that Rays team is too good not to be playing in front of sellout crowds every night. They're amazing, and they play in front of nobody every night. And they're probably right now the best team in baseball.
They should get turned into the Montreal Expos.
I agree with you. Or if not, you imagine them in Vancouver?
Yep.
That would be really dope.
And you brought up this idea. Yeah, it's tough. That too. They only have 8 home games.
Right.
And what about you? Very interesting thought. How about you put teams, a couple of them in the Caribbean? in Puerto Rico and DR.
I'm with
You
that
put a team in San Juan and you put a team in Santo Domingo.
because think about it. The DR is not too close from Miami, and Puerto Rico is not too close, not too far. You're not too far in proximity. You can actually make it work.
Or imagine this. Now I know. Let's say, all right, I'm going to throw this out at you.
Mm-hmm.
You make hold on. You take both Florida teams, put them in the Caribbean, and then you just make the Expos.
Wow, that's a crazy thought.
I'm just saying.
I like that. You're onto something there.
That
You're
makes
very onto something. And
And
here's
then
the
you just
thing.
create the Expos from scratch.
There you go.
An expansion
There you
draft.
go. Yo, you imagine that?
Now I know, of course, in Miami it's hard because they just built that building, but same thing with Tampa. They don't. I'm sorry, they don't have a huge
See,
fan.
but honestly, I think the Marlins can draw. I think if you put a team around what they're building now, I think the Marlins will draw, because very similar to what the Heat go through. When the Heat are good, they draw. When the Heat are good in basketball, people come to the games.
Yeah.
Now they may come late, but they come to the games. So that's why I think if you put these teams in certain areas, they'll draw. Like, I like your idea of Puerto Rico and the DR, but I don't want to put them too deep into a city. I want to put them that they're closer to an airport. Teams can get in and out. The travel wouldn't be
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I put them both in each capital city. I think that would work.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all, because now you create intrigue amongst those countries, and the economic boost it would bring.
Right.
The economic boost it would bring to those countries would be astronomical. That wouldn't be a bad
What about
idea.
even putting a team? I just thought of this: a team in Mexico City and an NFL team, because they have a game there every year.
The NFL would probably work.
Not
because
baseball.
it depends on. It depends where in Mexico City you're putting them, though. Are you going to have the baseball team and football team share the stadium? Because if you are, that could work for both. Or would you want to build separate stadiums for both?
I was thinking separate, or the football team could play in the Estadio Azteca, like they do already.
Oh, okay.
Just share that.
Okay. I think, honestly, and this is the interesting part about this conversation, guys, please comment more, share the video. I'm very fascinated. I'm very fascinated with you guys' thoughts on this. And for full disclosure, I'm not the biggest geography nut, but I was looking at it going, you know what? This would be really cool, because you really get to see more of the rivalry. You really get to see more of the teams that are battling for supremacy in their own, like, close proximity to each other. It would be really cool. And baseball is so big on the Latin population. It would be really dope to see a Latin team, to see two Latin teams with Latin origins become part of the big leagues. That'd be really cool.
And the travel is logical, unlike the NFL's London idea, which, makes no sense.
That's freaking stupid. That's stupid. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Guys, what do you think about the NFL in London?
I think
your thoughts, because I'm super curious.
Mentioned Hawaii, which would be a pretty cool idea. They always had the Pro Bowl there forever.
It would be.
I brought up Toronto, although most people in Toronto are Bills fans because of the proximity, but I think that'd be really cool to have a Toronto-Buffalo rivalry.
That'd be dope. I'd like to see a football team in Vancouver, like with a stadium like overlooking the water in downtown Vancouver.
Vancouver should have like all the sports teams. They already have soccer.
Imagine Ravens 8. Imagine that Ravens 8 got his own football team in Vancouver. He'd go crazy. He'll lose his mind.
What about a baseball team and these three Western cities? Well, you mentioned Vancouver, Portland, that rivalry with
Man,
Seattle,
the
and
Marin and Portland
I
one.
think Nashville is such a expanding city sports wise. Like they just have the soccer team now. You have the Titans and the Predators. Why not a baseball team right there?
It would work. Like, because here's the thing. Jason Stark of The Athletic pointed out that they were talking about using Nashville as a hub city for minor leaguers. So if minor leaguers wanted to go and work on their skills, they can do it in Nashville while they get ready for the big league season. Like, put a bunch of minor leaguers down there from different affiliates and work on it that way. I think that'd be really cool.
Yep.
A Latin American conference for baseball.
What do you think about that? Like you have a team in
That is
each Caribbean country and a team in Mexico and Central America.
that's not bad. That's not where you have like Cuba, Puerto Rico, the DR, Venezuela.
Yep.
Yo,
Curacao.
and you know me. Oh, can you imagine a baseball team in the Netherlands? First of all, you see what's in the Netherlands already. Kenley Jansen, Didi Gregorius, Anderson Simmons, Jonathan Scope. I can keep going. I mean, there's guys from the Netherlands that are premier big league players that are very good.
Would you have a European league, or you would?
Sure, why not? Anything to expand the sport? Sure.
Well, definitely. Let's, because this is intriguing to me. So Netherlands, Italy has a pretty solid team. What other countries would you add in Europe? Would you put Spain on there?
I would. Carolina with a baseball team. That's interesting.
Yeah, North Carolina.
That's interesting.
Have a team in Charlotte or Raleigh, I think.
I put a team in Charlotte. I put a team in Charlotte because you could build a stadium right next to where the Hornets play.
And where the Panthers play.
Right. That'd be crazy. Yo. Wow. Let the people know we're live, guys. Share the video. I think this is fascinating for multiple reasons. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I think needs to be pointed out. If you want to get people to take your sport seriously, you have to start expanding to these places that don't have teams and franchises. Like, you have to start that expansion process. You have to let people know, hey, we're here to build a constituency of fans. And he just said it. Baseball's an international sport. How many times have we seen, the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic, Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic, Israel in the World Baseball Classic, the Japanese Taipei, Chinese Taipei. You've seen all these teams in the WBC already. What if, and here's the thing, what if the Korean and Japanese leagues had major league affiliation where you can have teams like they do with soccer and the MLS and the Premier and some of these leagues where you have links between the two leagues where you funnel players back and forth?
Yeah, because that's what may happen with Messi. He may go from Man City right to NYCFC because they're connected.
Like a transfer system. That would be crazy. Yeah, Ray, we know I do the same thing. I need help. Like, that would be nuts. And that's how you're going to grow the sport. That's how you're going to grow it. That's how people are going to see, wow, they're dead serious about growing the sport. And listen, baseball always talks about we want to expand revenue. We want to expand our popularity. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You reach down to the core depths of the people that love your sport. Yo, can you imagine having a clinic where you develop, let's say the Padres, you develop a Tatis Jr., and you get him under contract at 16, 17 years old, and the team just develops him, and he's your guy, and he stays there for as long as you need, and the guy just keeps on developing. You know how bananas that would be for the sport?
Crazy.
Little League has a great following, right? You see what they do with the Little League World Series every year.
Yeah.
That Little League World Series every year, and some big league teams go now. There's now a thing where two major league teams, they play in what's called the Little League Classic. They play in Williamsport. They build a major league regulation field, and they play for the kids. And some of these kids are nice. At the Little League World Series, some of these kids, I enjoy that regular a big league game. Good fundamentals. These kids throwing heat at like 13, 14 years old. I'm with this. These kids want it. And they play it pure. That's why I love college ball, man, because college ball is just so pure, which is why I'm kind of shocked that you don't like college ball, because you like the purity of sports. Where college ball like exemplifies that like purity. And I think it'd be really dope.
Yeah, like I'll here and there watch a big rivalry game in college football, or like if I'm at your house, you're watching Duke or something, I'll watch it. But I just can't get into it like the NFL, although I feel like I should, because college seems a lot more competitive.
And honestly, you can lay people out in college. It's not soft like the NFL, where if you hit somebody, you're going to the ball.
The atmosphere is insane. New Orleans baseball, that's another good location there. And you can have that rivalry with the Rangers and Astros.
Listen, can you sign me up? Because I do the play-by-play. Imagine you get to eat food from the bayou, the shrimp, and the gumbo.
What about a baseball team in Oklahoma?
That would be dope. If you put one in New Orleans, you put one in Oklahoma, and here's the thing. Now you got the rivalry with the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
Now you got
St. Louis.
What?
The barbecue belt, we'll call it.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Division. Those cities are big on barbecue, man.
Listen, just put a rib and a steak out as the symbol of the division. Call it the barbecue division. Man, and I think the reason why this is fascinating on so many levels is this. I think this will bring a whole new different demographic into these sports. Like, honestly, you know what I would love to see a baseball team? Where the Field of Dreams was made in Iowa.
Yeah.
What a baseball team. You imagine what that'll do for that small economy?
Yeah. Vegas, I was just going to mention, I think there should be a baseball team there. You build a nice dome stadium.
Mardi Gras baseball. I'll be the real life Brockmeyer. Sign me up.
No, but imagine baseball in Vegas. You have the Raiders and the Golden Knights there. Then you bring a baseball, then maybe basketball eventually.
Yo, move the A's to Vegas. Can you imagine the Oakland A's in Vegas?
They should.
The Vegas A's.
It's got a nice ring. The Vegas A's. Just saying.
You're on to something there. You're on to something.
And MLS too, I know is talked about expanding maybe to Vegas one day. That'd be cool.
How do you feel about that?
I like it. I love it.
Baseball in Vegas would be interesting. But I think I would love to see it in like Nashville. I'd love to see it in Oklahoma. I'd love to see a baseball team in New Orleans is really dope too.
I never thought of that. Right, that's a cool idea.
Kayla, that's why we pay you the big bucks, Kayla. We're gonna start paying you the big bucks.
Oh, that was Kayla. I'm sorry.
Soon. See, and here's the thing. You make more money that way. Because if you want to talk about making money, you imagine the expansion?
Yeah.
You imagine that? Like the NHL already realized, oh, we gotta get a hockey team in Seattle. Can you imagine?
Finally.
Can you imagine if they put one in Portland next?
Yo, the Kraken, the Canucks, and whatever the Portland team would be named.
Baseball team in Portland.
The outdoor game at CenturyLink or
Oh,
at Portland Soccer Stadium. That'd be
you're
amazing.
making me cry. Yes.
You mentioned an NHL team in Cleveland. That'd be
That'll be
cool.
cool.
Makes
That'll be really cool.
so much sense. Have that rivalry with the Blue Jackets, maybe even one in
Yes.
Cincinnati. Oh my God.
And here's the thing. Cleveland would really benefit from that, though.
It would.
I think Cleveland would benefit
It's
from it.
such a
Because Cleveland,
sports mad city. Like,
and it's cold.
yeah.
Wow. Imagine that rivalry with Chicago. A Cleveland team with the rivalry with Chicago, and then you got Columbus.
And Detroit right there.
Oh, my. Oh. Yeah, I agree with you. We need a basketball team in Seattle. 100,000%. 100,000% agree. Now, if you could put teams currently in different positions, like let's say you move the Cowboys out of the NFC East.
Okay.
Where would you put the Cowboys, and who would replace the Cowboys in that division?
Wow. Well, I did it more. I can read them off to you if you want, or I could just give you some differences and get your thoughts on it.
Yes, please. Either or.
Because I'm curious. If you were gonna.
That's not a bad. That's.
I mean, you can put other sports teams. I mean, because the NHL, like Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Ottawa. I mean, a baseball team or basketball team could work there.
I think it definitely could.
So my NFL realignment would be this. West. So 16 teams in each conference. West would be Arizona, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, Houston, Kansas City, Las Vegas, both LA teams, Minnesota, New Orleans, San Francisco, Seattle, and Tennessee. And what do you think? And then I'll read you the East.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And then the East, Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo.
But do you consider Minnesota Midwest?
Yes.
All right.
Carolina, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Indianapolis in the East, Jacksonville, Miami, New England, both New York teams, Philly, Pittsburgh, Tampa, and Washington in the East.
That's not a bad idea.
I read you the baseball one because you're the baseball guy, and we got Emilio Taylor commenting. I'm curious.
Yes.
What you guys think. So this is the West. So 15 teams in the conference.
Guys, I know I'm saying it a lot, but share the video. Let people know that we're live. Yes. Let them see us so that they can come on and give us their thoughts. So share the video. Go ahead, Big Dog. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to get that out.
All good. So, West would be Arizona, Chicago Cubs and White Sox, Colorado, Houston, Kansas City, the Angels and Dodgers, Minnesota, Oakland, San Diego, San Francisco, St. Louis, Seattle, and Texas.
That's not bad either.
And in the East, Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Cincy, Cleveland, Detroit, Miami, Milwaukee, both New York teams, Philly, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Washington. What do you think with baseball?
That's not bad. I'm a fan. I'm 1,000% a fan of all that.
Thank you.
All right. My division would be Giants, Jets, Pittsburgh, Philly.
Interesting. Would that be the
That's
same?
what I'm saying. I would take the Cowboys out. Philadelphia is East, right? Because that's way. Yeah, Philly's in the East. 1,000% Philly's in the East.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Phillies, the Eagles, yeah.
because I just think that Dallas just messes up the whole. Like
It
you get
does.
New York, you get
That's
Philly,
why
you
even
get.
with baseball, I put the Rangers in the West, them and the Astros in the
But
Western
that's where they
Conference.
are in baseball. They're in the West. Yes, in baseball they're in the same division with the Astros, and they don't.
Oh, we might have lost Stefan for a minute. They should reconnect. But yeah, and I would even think about in baseball. I know they're doing it this year to 16 teams. I don't know if I do that every year. Um, well, in a normal year, it would be 4 teams in each league. So how about in the East and West, you have the top 4 teams in the West and in the East go to the playoffs. I think that would be really good. Um, and I had a tough time determining like the Midwestern teams. Um, but because you want to keep that rivalry close, all close together. So we lost him. Hopefully he'll come right back. But I feel Chicago should be in the West. And I did the best I could. I felt Minnesota should be in the West. But like Detroit, I moved them to the East. Milwaukee, I moved to the East. But yeah, I think, for that, baseball too, what do you guys think? Should they keep the expanded playoffs, or should it just be only for this year? Would you, add more teams? I'm curious what you guys think. As still waiting for Stefan to get back. I'm sorry, I'm just going to text him. See, hopefully his connection comes back. But yeah, I don't like the division idea. I mean you could keep it and then kind of rearrange everybody, but I feel East and West is so easy. And you just do it by record. Best, like football, best 7 teams in each conference. Baseball, best 4 teams or 8 teams. Hold on 1 second. Stefan is calling me. You good? I'm still on. Are you able to reconnect?
Hopefully, my internet's kind of like, it just wicked out on me. My cable box just wicked out.
Do you want me to stay on or you want me to leave and then we'll restart?
Nah, keep going. Don't leave. I'm going to try.
Okay.
I'm going to try and come back. Hold on.
All right.
All right.
All right. So Stefan's going to keep trying, folks. So we will move away from baseball for a minute, and when he comes back on, we'll get back into it. Let's get into the NHL. Now, NHL, basically, I really didn't do too many changes, basically. It is the way it is. Now, again, 16 teams in the East and West, no more divisions. But certain teams I would move and expand, because I think hockey is such a big possibility, and other sports too, but hockey, they see it now. The success with Vegas, the success with Seattle. I mean, for example, and look, no offense to these teams or fan bases, but they just don't draw like other teams do. And these are primarily more in warm weather places. But, certain areas it worked. Like in Southern California, it worked. San Jose, it worked. Those teams have been successful. They've won cups. They've been to cup finals. Dallas has won a cup. They're always good every year. Tampa Bay, great. Great team. They're always in it. But, for example, like the Coyotes, the last time they made a deep playoff run was 2012. They were in the conference finals. But like them, I moved them to Portland just to have them, Seattle and Vancouver. That'd be an amazing rivalry in the Northwest, especially for hockey. In the East, I would move Carolina, not back to Hartford, but to Baltimore. I think Baltimore needs an NBA team and an NHL team. I think, it's not the biggest of cities, but it's a big enough American city where it could hold 4 teams, not just 2. And I know a lot of people from Baltimore then will gravitate towards the Wizards and Capitals since Baltimore doesn't have an NBA and an NHL team. They have the Ravens and Orioles. But I think to create more of a rivalry with the Wizards and Capitals, although in particular we're talking hockey now. So if you have a team in Baltimore, imagine that rivalry with the Capitals. I mean, and playoff matchups, and it would just be amazing, I think. And Florida, listen, they play on the outskirts. They play in Sunrise, Florida, like 40, 45 minutes outside of Miami, in the middle of nowhere. And they don't have the cachet of the Lightning. I mean, in the 90s, they were in a Stanley Cup final, but that was the last time. They were in the postseason this year. They were in the postseason at 16. But they don't make playoff runs a lot. And then before that, 2012. So, they're not as consistent. They don't sell out playoff games at all. Although the one thing about Carolina, like when they make a deep playoff run, their fans show up. Arizona, too, their fans show up. But Florida, I mean, the last series in 2016, when there were fans in the building, it was like 60% full when they played the Islanders there. Now, if you wanted to maybe move the Panthers to Miami, I think it's the American Airlines Center where the Heat play. I think that'd be cool. You could have more hockey fans in Miami or in the Miami area that'll go to Panther games instead of driving all the way to Sunrise to go see them play. So, and even the Dolphins, they've been in that stadium or that location in Miami Gardens for a long time. But imagine the Dolphins even closer to downtown Miami, like the Marlins are in the Heat. And now Inter Miami, David Beckham's MLS team that he owns, they're in that area now, which is great. But I would move Florida to Quebec City. I think those 3 cities can use teams. And also, too, cities I would expand on. Now, there weren't many in the East that I could think of, like big enough cities, except Baltimore, Quebec City. I did mention Hartford, Connecticut, maybe put the Whalers back there to have that rivalry with the Bruins, and then with the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, the Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts rivalry there, all in the tri-state. I thought of other New England states like Vermont, Maine, but it may be really hard, I think, just because no offense to them, I think it could work. Very cold weather, of course, in the winter, but not big enough cities. Maybe Burlington, Vermont. It's tough. But Quebec City and Baltimore would definitely work for me. But the West, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I mentioned Portland, Salt Lake City, just to have that rivalry with the Colorado Avalanche. I'd call it like the Rocky Mountain rivalry or something, like give it a real ring to it. Kansas City, just to have that rivalry with the Blues. And also the Sprint Center is like a brand new arena that doesn't house a sports team full time. That's right in downtown Kansas City. And then imagine the outdoor games at the Royal Stadium or Arrowhead against like St. Louis. That would be amazing. And a sports mad city, again, doesn't have many teams, but they should have a NBA and NHL team. San Francisco is an interesting one. Now, I know they already have the Sharks down the road in San Jose. But the Chase Center is brand new where the Warriors play. If you can have a hockey team in there too, I think that'd be amazing to have that kind of rivalry with the Sharks, like a Northern California rivalry. Of course, the Sharks have a huge rivalry with the Kings and the Ducks. Also, Cal and Northern California teams had those great battles, especially in the playoffs over the past little while. But I think a team in San Francisco, and it's a big major American city. And they already have 3 teams now, if you count the Warriors, who were in Oakland, now are in San Francisco. Geographically, they're right next to the San Francisco Giants Stadium. Then you have the 49ers in Santa Clara. Even that, too, and it's a nice stadium, Levi Stadium, from what it at least looks like on TV. But imagine them like in downtown San Francisco, and then you could have them, the Giants, the Warriors, and then an NHL team in San Francisco. Unfortunately, guys, Stefan is having some trouble, so we're going to end it. We're going to try and maybe come back on, but we'll see. I'm going to talk to him now, see if we could come back on. If not, because of his internet, we apologize. And we will let you know when the next show is. Just as we were really getting into this conversation with you guys, damn internet. But let's see what happens, and see you guys soon.